Hello, this is Bill Claudsey. We've got another Aether Revolt draft here. Let's open this first pack. Taken us a little while, and wow, one of the best cards in the set, Herald of Anguish. Cheap 5/5 flyer, cheaper with Improvise, and card advantage, and some ridiculous removal. Just about the perfect start to any draft. This is what you want to open. It is a heavy commitment to black, but black has some of the best tricks and some of the best early creatures, so that is just perfect. Perfect start to this draft. Hidden Stockpile, pretty cool, but nothing else that comes close. Consulate Crackdown. Sure, well, if your opponent has a field full of artifacts, this can crack down, but it is more of a sideboard card. Because if it, maybe it kills one little artifact or something, but it is nice that it exiles the artifact, because a lot of the implements have some benefit when they die. Well, all of the implements. But what do we want here? It really depends on what color or colors we're trying to be. If we really want to go deep on this improvised thing, Bastion Inventor is hexproof. It's so hard to deal with. A 4/4 that comes down early. We can prioritize just random 1-drops at this point. I am going to take Bastion Inventor here and try to really push Improvise. Take all the 1-drop artifacts. It is a bit of a shame for Improvise that the black and blue implements are 2-drops and 3-drops, as opposed to all the others which cost 1. And unlike Metal Gear Colossus, all of the Improvise, minus cost is just 1 per artifact, not based on the converted mana cost. So, what can we do here? Yeah, we could just take Renegade Map. It ramps in a couple ways. It's going to help fix colors in case we go into 3 colors. So, yeah, pretty easy pick here. Resourceful Return could be strong because we get something like Herald of Anguish back, but it is common and it is passed later than Renegade Map. So there it is. Weldfast Engineer is another good one. Actually, it's really good. However, it's not as important for this deck. We're almost more of a control deck with Herald of Anguish, which wins in the late game. I'm going to take Renegade Map. It's just so good with everything we want to do. And Efficient Construction. Pretty excited by this card, and we're going to try to play a lot of artifacts, not just tokens, but not just servos and things, but actual artifacts. So I'm going to take Efficient Construction and, yeah, get into this. Chandra's Revolution may be the best card here, but it doesn't have the upside of construction. Of note, this won't trigger off of tokens, but you can use the tokens to help pay for Improvise. So it kind of makes little mana thopters if we get enough improvised creatures. I'm trying to think what the blue-black multicolor card is. It's like Ensoul Artifact that gets you back your artifact. That could be strong. I would like to open that, but it's not something I'd love. Like, it's not that good. Consulate Turret, yeah, not too much going on here, but Metallic Rebuke, if you can consistently have a 1-mana artifact, then this is a consistent counterspell on turn 2. Yeah, so we'll try to prioritize those 1-mana artifacts. There's Felidar Guardian here, which is not just good in a combo, it's also just a great little creature. Okay, where are the cheap little creatures and artifacts? Not here, apparently, but Watchful Automaton is something we could be interested in. Rogue Refiner, obviously good. But this is not an energy deck so much as it is an artifact deck. Herald of Anguish is strong enough that even if we're not getting past black, we should really try to put it in the deck. So I'll take Watchful Automaton. And This is going to be a challenging pick, because not only do we have Aether Poisoner, but we have another Bastion Inventor. The Poisoner helps ramp, it's an early play, it's pretty great all around. You want to have a lot of 2-drops that have value early and late, and it's hard to get too many of those. So yeah, really tough here, because if we do take another Bastion Inventor, then we can slam all of the stuff we get. But I really want to prioritize getting a deck that's just definitely going to work, not try to get a deck that might work some of the time. Trophy Mage, can't be too sad with that. It's either that or another counterspell, and you don't need to get too many of this effect. One is fine in a deck, and we might find some more 3-drop artifacts. Some more Improvise. Now this is like pretty bad on the Improvise scale, but it does work with Self-Assembler, so that is one consideration. Renegade's Getaway to save our Herald of Anguish when it's about to die. But to really make this work, I think we just need to take Implement of Malice to make sure we get enough artifacts. And we can take another Automaton. That is fine. And the Peaceful Return, or Resourceful Return, Wheels. So if our Herald bites the dust, we can get it back. Sometimes they put the art of another card in a card like this, Resourceful Return. I'm trying to think of what this creature could be. It's like a big golem. It's like a big Gundam. But yeah, any actual artifact that we take is going to work well with efficient construction as well. And any artifact creature works doubly well. It does double duty here. Revolutionary, just don't like that card. But another Implement of Malice. Yeah, hard to go wrong with this. You can ramp, you can draw, you can discard. And this is a league. There are no regular draft pods anymore. I mean, not really, not for the new sets coming out. So it's all about league. And it's not too different from regular draft, but you're more cooperative with the people next to you. You want to give the person next to you a really good deck and keep them away from your deck, from your colors. And that's what this is all about. Cogworker, Assembler, another assembly worker. This makes a copy of an artifact. And that's kind of cool. You can copy like an implement, and if you have 1 mana left over to sacrifice it, you can do that. It doesn't really work with everything. Another Aether Poisoner, but I'm going to take Windkin Raiders. So we do have enough of these improvised cards to make our deck work. Implement, and yeah, so another Bastion Inventor. I'm not sad that we passed that second one, because we'll pick up the third one here pretty easily. And hope to pick up some more 1-drops, really, like 1-mana artifacts. We'll prioritize that. Now, Barricade Breaker, another 7-drop improvised guy. Really helps out this deck. Nothing else here that's great in our colors. All of the multicolor cards are great, especially, well, these are some of the 2 best. The Constrictor and the Wheelsmith. Constrictor gets nuts if you have enough support for it. 1/1 counters. It doesn't do much on its own, except it's already a 2/3 for 2 mana. But anytime you have like the Implement of Ferocity, just already makes it that much better. Get that first 1/1 counter going. Rebuke. Trophy Mage is fine in this deck. It's not an exciting card. It's a little slow, but it does draw you a card. 3 mana, 2/2 that draws you a card. That's playable. It's actually worse now than it used to be. I think that text would have been better in earlier formats. Now there's a 4 mana 2/2 that draws you a card, and that's just almost unplayable. Wow. We have another Bastion Inventor and a Universal Solvent. And an Implement, I guess, but I think at this point we can, yeah, the Solvent goes late. I'm going to take the Inventor, and now we can be set for our Improvise. I don't want to risk like not getting this Improvise card and having like an awkward deck, and I think we can take one more and be happy with it. Wow. Another Renegade map, that's pretty good. I want to see if it's possible that we could splash Dark Intimations. I think we have to. What does it do? We get a creature or planeswalker back from our graveyard. Oh, the second part is irrelevant, but the first part is opponent sacks and discards. You return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand, then draw a card. So it's a 4-for-1 if everything is set up to be that way. I'm going to take it here. The correct pick might be the Solvent or the map, but this is too sweet to pass up this early. I want to see how good it is. And we can just play one of Mountain in the deck, and that should be enough. Okay, Augmenting Automaton, Shielded Aether Thief. Shielded the Thief is not going to be good if we don't have any energy. So that is one concern. We could take Augmenting Automaton because it helps ramp. We have all of this Improvise. Let's see. Yeah, I'll take that. Tezzeret's Touch, here it is. And another Bastion Inventor, so we could go super deep, or we could take advantage of all of these artifacts we have early and take Tezzeret's Touch. Sometimes you just win. Turn 3, you're attacking for 5. One of the fastest cards in the set. Another Efficient Construction. Yeah, the worry here is that we just don't have enough artifacts. But let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only have 7 right now. But I'm going to take it. And then we can just take all the artifacts. So we get Cogwork Assembler, which is good with Trophy Mage. It's good with Construction. I'm just going to take that. It's a 2/3. It's not an embarrassing size of a creature. It's not great, but look at those little guys he has. We need more one-drop things, and past a lot of them. All of the universal solvents. Wouldn't mind having some of those in the deck. Not sure about how many resourceful returns we really need. Rule of thumb for a card like this is if you can imagine a situation where 1 is, like, you definitely wouldn't want 2, then you might just not want 2 in your deck. Okay, another Implement. It's not a 1-mana thing, but it is something we should prioritize. It does help set up our turn 3 touch here. And with the touch, you can sacrifice it. Let's say they put blinding lights on it or something. You could sacrifice it and get it back once. You'd rather attack with it, but if you can't, then that's an option. Take into custody. Pass on some good red cards that we're not interested in. At this point, yeah, I kind of wish we took another Renegade map to help splash Intimations. Negate Implement of Examination. Sure, I don't mind having a draw too. That helps with all of our synergy. It's expensive, but we also use it as ramp into all of our 6-drops. Double Negate. I do like a counterspell, but it takes up all the precious slots in our deck for artifacts. Almost looks like a deck right now. Almost. Oh shoot, this should have been the white-black land or the blue-red land to help us out with what we're trying to do here. But it's not, so we can take... What should we take? We could take Glassblower's Puzzle Knot. Scry into all the stuff we need. The energy doesn't help us at all, so this is not an exciting pack. Foundry Screecher, Fretwork Colony. Even the Sky Whale is not exciting, but maybe select for inspection. Yeah, just take select. Might come in handy. Not exciting. Alright, so what do we find here? Underhanded Designs is another little artifact synergy card. But it doesn't do that much for us. The Marauder doesn't do much either. Lifelink is great to have, but this won't have any ways to get pumped. Not really. Torch Gauntlet, that's one way to pump it, I suppose. Trade Winds, yeah, I'm going to take Underhanded Designs. It's got to be good in this deck. If it's not good in this deck, I don't know what deck it's good in. Ooh, Essence Extraction. I like that. We also have one Assembly Worker to get with Self-Assembler. But, you know, that's not that exciting. I think the Essence Extraction is pretty solid. Tell you what, though, this is going to look weird, but I'm going to take Inventor's Goggles over it. We have 3 hexproof Artificers that the Goggles helps cast, and yeah, you get a 5/6 hexproof on as early as turn 4, you know. So I think that it's got to be good, or as early as turn 3, really. If you have 1-drop, 1-drop, 1-drop. If we draw the nut draw. So I think Inventor's Goggles does get a lot better in this format, and you only have 1 pack to try to get them, so I'm going to pick that here. It's just too much synergy with our deck to pass up. Gearseeker Serpent, another kind of improvise effect. Puzzle Knot as an upgrade to one of our implements, maybe. The return, I'm not sure if the return is going to be any good. It might just be too late. If we go into a grindy matchup that, you know, our things are getting killed, it could be a lot better. But we already have Intimations, if we even want to try to play that. Which we might not. We have a lot of playables here. Watchful Automaton, don't need too many of those. Die Young, in case it matches up well. Sequestered Stash is interesting. But again, we can't afford too many of these slots for things that are not artifacts. Fortuitous Find, probably better than Resourceful Return. Gets an artifact and a creature back, and we'll have plenty of both. 24. 24 is fine. 16 lands if you're playing a Renegade map. Yeah. Yeah, it looks about good. Very aggressive deck. Torch Gauntlet. I'm going to pass on the Torch Gauntlet. It's good with Windkin Raiders. It makes a 6/4 hexproof, but that's not that much better than a 4/4 hexproof, given that they're only killing it by damage anyway. They'll just block with a ton of creatures. So our 2 win conditions are Efficient Construction to get a bunch of Thopters into play, and just our evasive late creatures. Workshop Assistant. Yeah, Poisoner's a good early play. Maybe Trophy Mage is a cut, but I think it's fine here. Trade Winds could be good against certain cards. Nice to have access to it. Lost Legacy for value. Completely unplayable. Cool art. Not completely unplayable, but something you want to avoid in limited. Wouldn't even be that good against us, I mean, despite having multiples of a couple win conditions. Because we could always win with something else. Ambition. That could be a good way to restock our hand. And we get a Sequestered Stash back. The real question of this draft will be whether or not to play Intimations. It doesn't work that well with our theme. It's just going to be kind of awkward with what we have going on. So we'll see if we can upgrade that. Maybe Tezzeret's Ambition is just better. Draw 3 cards, which could draw into more artifacts to trigger underhanded designs, or efficient construction. So that could be worth it. Alright, so we have a ton of stuff with Improvise and Gearseeker Serpent, which has like Mega Improvise. It just costs less without having to tap for it. So we could do a turn, you know, with like 6 lands out and cast 2 of our 6 drops. Or 7 drops. Pretty nuts. Even Aether Poisoner kind of counts as an artifact, and it works well with underhanded designs. That would be the only reason to play more energy in the deck. But it's probably just good enough on its own as a defensive little guy. Negate can stay in the sideboard. What did we cut here? We cut Dark Intimations. We're still sitting at 24. It's possible we don't want this many lands. Even 16. It's possible, but then again, we do have a lot of stuff to be doing. And the Watchful Automaton does help bail us out of a late-game flood. And I suppose the Anguish is a nice thing to go into as well. And if we do happen to want to sacrifice all our implements, then we'll have mana left over to play some of this. So Ambition makes it better. I'm pretty happy with this overall. So yeah, having more mana helps you have more reliable openings, and having less mana just prevents, you know, running out of stuff to do and getting flooded. But if you find a way to get rid of your extra lands, that just makes you have a good early game and a good late game. So Scry and Renegade Map and things like that will thin your deck or put lands on the bottom. So having a couple ways to do those really helps out. Now we're looking at like a 9-7 deck. We do have more blue. We only have 4 black cards. So we want more blue for sure, but not by so much that I think we need to do anything crazy. 9 should be plenty for the 11 blue cards we have, and we do have some black activations as well. So that's probably good here, and Renegade Map counts as one of each, so it's like 10-8. Pretty good mana. Dark Intimation, sorry, it's just not really synergistic with this deck. We can leave it out. But I'm excited to try out Improvise. I sometimes call it Inspired, but it's not. Improvise. I've never had such a dedicated Improvise deck before, with a couple efficient constructions. So, see you in the matches.